Lena Morales was easy to overlook. Tucked in the back corner of Vale Enterprises' vast archive department, she moved quietly, said little, and rarely looked anyone in the eye. Most coworkers didn't even know her name. She was the girl in the wheelchair who handled old reports and outdated inventory logs. Reliable but forgettable. But there was more to Lena than anyone realized. Each morning, she arrived precisely at 7:30 a.m., 30 minutes before anyone else. Not because it was expected, but because she wanted to read the gaps in audits, inconsistencies in delivery logs, anomalies in finance sheet. She wasn't trained for it. No one had assigned her that role. But she did it anyway, filing silent alerts, flagging details others missed, fixing the company one quiet correction at a time. She didn't need recognition. She needed distance. Because the truth was, Lena could walk. The wheelchair was a disguise, a barrier between her and a world that had once nearly destroyed her. Tom Reyes, her boyfriend, had helped her create the illusion after she fled her old life. But whatever comfort he once gave had turned into control. He'd convinced her staying invisible was protection, and now he used her image to build his own brand of heroism. Online, he was the doting partner. In private, he managed every inch of her life. He didn't know she kept secrets even from him. One Monday morning, everything shifted. Marcus Vale, the notoriously cold CEO of Vale Enterprises, appeared on the archive floor. He never came down there. His world was boardrooms and billion-dollar deals, not dusty paperwork and basement-level staff. But this time, his assistant had been fired for an error, and he wanted to see how the mistake had started. He didn't speak to Lena, but he noticed the corrected version of the report she'd quietly sent up the chain. His eyes paused on her name, his expression unreadable. Later that afternoon, her supervisor received a quiet instruction: move Lena to a temporary position on the internal audit team. No explanation. Just orders from the top. Lena noticed the shift immediately. Suddenly, people who had ignored her were watching. The tasks were more complex, the files more sensitive. Still, she said nothing, just adjusted and adapted. She never sought credit, only clarity. What she didn't know was that Marcus Vale had reviewed every document she had touched over the past year. He had noticed her pattern, always the smallest notations, the clearest trails, the cleanest corrections. A ghost in the system fixing errors no one else saw. And while the company started whispering about the sudden rise of the quiet girl in the wheelchair, Tom grew tense. He had built their image carefully. Lena's rise in the company didn't fit his narrative. He started showing up at her job more often, dropping in unexpectedly, asking too many questions. He didn't like that she had started asking questions of her own. Marcus passed Lena in the hallway 3 times that week. He never said much. A nod. A glance. But each time, his eyes lingered, studying her, not in pity, not in curiosity, but as if he saw something important everyone else had missed. Lena didn't know what to make of it. But deep inside something shifted. For the first time in years, someone wasn't just looking at her. They were seeing her. Let me know if you'd like to move on to Section 2F, or want a voiceover-style version F of this for narration. Lena didn't ask why she was suddenly pulled into internal audit. She just did the work, clean, precise, better than anyone expected. Numbers told stories, and Lena listened. Her reports came fast, flagged the right things, and made others in the department look sloppy in comparison. That didn't earn her friends. Marcus kept watching. When an executive submitted a quarterly report that didn't align with supply logs, Lena spotted it in minute. Quietly filed, no fuss. But the mistake pointed to Carolyn Yates, someone high enough to be dangerous. Marcus read her note and said nothing, just circled her name. Meanwhile, Tom noticed the change. Lena was busier, quieter, more focused. She no longer asked for his permission before making decisions. That unsettled him. He brought her coffee one morning, uninvited, and waited outside her office too long. When Marcus passed by and saw him, their eyes met. No words. Just understanding. Tom left with a forced smile. That night Tom snapped. Accused her of changing. Of keeping things from him. Of thinking she didn't need him anymore. She didn't respond. Just stared at the floor. She couldn't tell him that she'd stopped needing him a long time ago. At the company gala, Tom insisted she attend in the wheelchair. "We're stronger together," he said. "People love our story." She went. Silent. Controlled. Exhausted. Marcus was there too. When he saw Tom with her, his face sharpened. Later, across the ballroom, Marcus caught Lena adjusting her legs, stretching them discreetly when no one was watching. No one, except him. She saw his eyes on her and froze. But Marcus looked away like he hadn't seen a thing. Back home, Tom's mood turned sour. He'd seen Marcus watching her. His jealousy boiled. But he didn't yell. He smiled. He made a call. The next day, Carolyn Yates approached Tom with a proposition. Take Lena down, and they'd both win. She had secrets she needed to bury. Lena's audits were too good. Too fast. Too quiet. Tom agreed. They began planting evidence. Emails, files, staged messages. A plan to frame Lena as the leak behind a fabricated financial breach. Tom played the concerned boyfriend. Carolyn handled the corporate side. Lena had no idea. She just kept doing the work. But the shift in energy was clear. People around her grew cold. Hesitant. She felt eyes on her back again, the same way she had years ago when her life first collapsed. Marcus noticed too. Watched closely. One afternoon, while reviewing a stack of audit flags, he found something odd. A report from Lena, genuine, clear, but the numbers attached didn't match her usual data trail. It had been altered. Someone was trying to make her look sloppy. He didn't confront her. Not yet. But now, he wasn't just watching the numbers. He was watching everyone around her. The trap was closing. Tom was confident. Carolyn was calm. Lena was focused. And Marcus was ready. Let me know if you want to dive straight into Section 3F or need a shortened narration version F of this part. Marcus asked for a meeting. Lena walked into the room with her usual quiet composure, wheeling herself in without a word. He pointed to the latest discrepancy she'd flagged. "How did you catch this?" he asked. She explained, calm and direct. No overthinking, no boasting. Just logic and detail. She traced patterns others missed, noticed changes in language, timing, numbers. Marcus watched her, not the words, but the precision behind them. He already knew she was different. Now, he was certain. The fraud she'd uncovered touched Carolyn's department. Lena didn't realize how close she was to danger. Carolyn did. And now the timeline was shrinking. The evidence they were fabricating needed to land soon. Tom played his part. He told Lena her work was too intense, that people at the top were threatened by her. "Let's step away from this before something bad happens," he said, his tone smooth. Manipulative. She didn't respond. She already suspected him. His questions had become too pointed. His presence too convenient. That week, Lena found missing invoices buried under mislabeled files. Ones that tied back to projects Carolyn had reported as complete. She flagged it, sent it to compliance, and copied Marcus directly. An hour later, Carolyn moved. She pulled strings, accelerated the internal complaint. Suddenly, Lena was under investigation. A confidential report accused her of tampering with company data. Anonymous sources. Carefully planted evidence. Tom backed it up with messages that made her look like a whistleblower with bad intent. Lena was blindsided. The same company that had started to respect her now looked at her like a threat. Marcus didn't believe any of it. He started his own review, quietly, outside the system. And while others saw a girl in a wheelchair with shaky credibility, Marcus saw the gap. The forged metadata. The mismatched file trails. The timing. Someone was trying too hard to make Lena look guilty. Tom pushed harder. He staged concern. Told people Lena had been unstable for months. Even claimed she faked her condition. It was risky, but he counted on the fact that she wouldn't expose herself. He was wrong. She didn't break, but she stopped hiding. In the early morning, when the office was empty, she stood up from the chair. Just once. Just long enough. Marcus saw it from the glass wall of his office. He said nothing. Instead, he picked up his phone and told security to pull every piece of camera footage from the last week. Quietly. Without alerting Carolyn or Tom. He had what he needed. The trap they set for Lena was about to snap shut. But it wouldn't catch her. Let me know if you'd like to continue with Section 4F or want a dramatic voiceover script F version next. Carolyn moved fast. The board received a summary report naming Lena as the leak. It was clean, convincing. The tone was urgent. A disciplinary hearing was scheduled. The message was clear. Contain the threat before it exposed them. Lena sat in silence as the accusations were read. They quoted timestamps she didn't recognize, files she'd never touched, motives she didn't have. No one looked her in the eye. No one asked questions. The decision had already been made. Tom sat behind her. Supportive. Loyal. Fake. But Marcus wasn't at the table. He walked in as the hearing was about to close. Said nothing. Just handed a flash drive to the lead compliance officer. You'll want to see this before proceeding, he said, voice flat. The room paused. Someone loaded the footage. First, video of Lena working late. Quiet, focused. Then timestamps cross-matched with the files she'd supposedly altered. Footage showed her nowhere near the system at those moments. Instead, another employee, tied to Carolyn's team, was accessing them under admin credentials. Then came the messages. Tom's staged texts disassembled. Metadata proved they were created on a separate device and backdated. A quick overlay showed the writing style didn't match Lena's at all. The final clip played. Lena standing, stretching, the wheelchair beside her. No explanation. No need. Marcus spoke only once. If someone is willing to fake a disability for protection, imagine what she was running from. And imagine what it takes to survive that, and still come here every day to make this place better. Silence. The board turned. Carolyn's composure cracked. She stood to defend herself, but Marcus already had her resignation letter prepared. You'll sign this or the footage goes to the authorities, he said. Carolyn signed. Tom wasn't offered a choice. Security escorted him out before he could speak. He didn't fight. Just stared at Lena like he'd seen a stranger. She didn't flinch. When it was over, Marcus dismissed the board and stood in front of her. You could have asked for help, he said. I didn't know how, she replied. You do now. Then he left. No dramatic promises. No rescue speech. Just recognition. Direct. Quiet. Real. Lena rolled out of the room, alone, but not invisible anymore. Let me know if you're ready for Section 5F, or would like this part adapted into a narration script F. The fallout was swift. Carolyn's departure sent shockwaves through the company. Departments scrambled to realign, cover their tracks, distance themselves from the wreckage. But one name kept surfacing, Lena. No longer ignored. No longer just the girl in the chair. Now the woman who brought down an executive. Some whispered. Some stared. Some apologized. Lena accepted none of it. She didn't need their guilt. She needed space to think, to rebuild, to understand what came next. Marcus didn't offer her a promotion. He gave her something better: access. Direct channels. Unrestricted audit permissions. Authority to investigate any file, any department. Quiet power, under the radar, exactly how she worked best. She found things. Patterns buried deep in R/and D funding, duplicate contracts in marketing, shell invoices routed through dormant suppliers. The corruption hadn't started with Carolyn. She was just one layer. Each time Lena sent a new report, Marcus replied with a single line: proceed. They worked in silence. Two shadows moving through a broken system. She never asked why he trusted her. He never asked what she was hiding. It was mutual recognition, Two people who operated in the margins because the center was too loud, too clumsy, too blind. Outside, Tom tried to recover his image. He posted statements, claimed misunderstandings, pushed a narrative of betrayal. But no one believed him. Marcus made sure the truth reached every investor, every partner, every employee. Tom's silence came swiftly after that. One evening, Marcus found Lena reviewing flagged entries from the previous year. "You're not sleeping," he said. "Not much to dream about," she replied. He didn't argue. Just sat across from her, pulled up the data, and worked beside her. No pretense. No motive. Just two people fixing what others had broken. She noticed the difference. He wasn't trying to save her. He was treating her like she mattered. That night, she left the wheelchair in the office. She walked to the elevator. And never looked back. Let me know if you're ready for the final in Section 6F, or want this adapted into a cinematic script F. 6 months passed. Lena's name no longer drew whispers. It drew respect. Departments waited for her feedback before submitting reports. Executives preemptively corrected mistakes, knowing she'd find them. She'd become the unseen compass of the company's integrity. But Lena didn't chase power. She stayed behind the scenes, precise and unassuming. When offered a spotlight, she declined. Recognition wasn't her fuel, clarity was. Truth, once hidden, now had a voice. And that was enough. Marcus never made a public statement about her. He didn't need to. His actions said more. The systems he restructured mirrored her logic. The staff he promoted shared her discipline. The entire audit process was rebuilt around her principles. She had changed the company without changing herself. Tom never returned. His final attempt to discredit her landed in Marcus's inbox, and vanished without reply. He was noise, background static in a story that had already moved on. What lingered, though, was something else. A tension between Lena and Marcus that neither named. It wasn't romantic in the obvious sense. It was sharper. Built on shared silence, shared survival, and the rare recognition that came when two people saw each other fully and didn't flinch. One evening, Lena left a file on his desk. No cover letter. Just data, raw and damning. It pointed to a quiet insider scheme involving legacy vendors. One Marcus had suspected for months but couldn't prove. Her notes sealed it. The next morning, he promoted her. No announcement. No ceremony. Just a short message. Effective immediately, Lena Morales reports directly to the CEO. She replied with 2 words. Understood. Proceeding, That was their language. No flattery, no theatrics. Just trust. In the end, the girl everyone overlooked dismantled corruption, rebuilt a system, and never asked to be seen. But she was. Fully. Finally. And by the one person who never needed to be told what she was capable of. Let me know if you'd like a trailer-style script F or voiceover narration F built from this final section.